some pleasures should not be sacrificed. Like if you sleep too little, eat too little, and freeze a little bit, you'll probably get sick and hence suffer for no reason. Also, we should not sacrifice being social because being social is like the most important thing in life, right? And so if you sacrifice warmth, food, sleep, and being social, you'll probably suffer immensely, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and not even reach your goals. So your suffering will be completely pointless. Unless, of course, it's an extreme period and only temporarily, then of course it's okay. But if you do it permanently, well, that's going to be a very miserable existence. But every other pleasure outside of that can and should be sacrificed. Why is that? The first reason is that in order to get to the next level, something must change. And that something can be as little as never pressing the snooze button ever again, never multitasking again, never complaining again, never listening to music while you're working, never eating sugar unnecessarily, never lying in bed aimlessly, never gossiping. All these simple things added together can make a massive difference. Like the person who, when the alarm rings, gets up straight away, is a completely different person than the one who presses the snooze button a few times and then also lies in bed a little bit. Oh, it's so warm, I don't want to get out of bed. Those people, although the net difference in their behavior may be like 15 minutes, although they just have 15 minutes difference in what they do in each day, are completely different people. The person who constantly needs to eat sugar is a completely different person who can eat raw vegetables when it is time to eat, when they're hungry. And so, although the differences between each of those are not that large, added over time and across all of those useless pleasures like notifications, the snooze button, sugar, and all these different things, do make a massive difference. And the thing is, this level, this progress is going to be basically free. Because although it may sound depressing to not take out your phone in the morning, to not scroll in the breaks, to not listen to music while you're working, to not press the snooze button, to not eat sugar, although these things may sound depressing, once you do it for like 3 days, it's going to be all right. And what's going to happen then is that you will feel amazing all the time, which is amazing. And so it's just, the first few days will be depressive, but after you overcome this 3-day depressing valley, you're going to wonder how the hell you could live before that, how the hell life was even possible when you did all these random useless things, right? And now, the second reason why you should care, why you should sacrifice basically all of those simple, useless pleasures that are actually not really pleasurable, but actually harmful for you, is because your pleasure in life, the pleasures that you can access, are directly proportional to what you're willing to sacrifice. What does that mean? Let me give you an analogy. If you start a company and that company reaches 1 million in valuation and you sell it, it is impossible by the laws of arithmetic to sell it at 1 billion because you've already sold it at 1 million. And the same applies to pleasure. If you settle for a 3.5 pleasure, you will never experience a 9.5 pleasure. If, let's say, you have you settle for the pleasure of lustful thoughts and pixels on a screen, you will not get tempted by the 6 out of 10 who begs to be your girlfriend, simply because if you settle for the screen, you will become so unattractive that no 6 out of 10 is going to reach out to you. Unless, of course, there's some exceptional circumstance or something like that. But generally speaking, this is how it works. If you, let's say, complain all the time, if you settle for the pleasure of complaining, you will not experience what it's like to really overcome your cynicism, which is a much higher pleasure. In the same way, if you settle for the pleasure of the snooze button, you will not experience the pleasure of how it is that you just jump out of bed and are full of energy. You will not experience that simply because you've settled for the lower pleasure of pressing the snooze button. And by the way, not only are most of these pleasures that we've discussed or will discuss in this video not really pleasurable, like multitasking is not actually pleasurable, notifications are not pleasurable, eating sugar is not really pleasurable if you think about it, if you consider that you feel shit afterwards. Not only are most pleasures that we've discussed and will discuss in this video not actually pleasurable, some of them are actively harmful. Like pressing the snooze button, once again, is harmful to you because it confuses like your bodily clock. It spikes your cortisol twice and then another time when you have less time in the morning. And for that, you get very little. You get like 5 minutes of bad sleep, which is just like 0.5% of your total sleep duration. So it just doesn't make sense. And the same way, like you gain nothing by thinking prideful or lustful thoughts. You gain nothing. There's no goal that you get closer to. They're not even that pleasurable to think, but the consequences are disastrous. Like if you constantly indulge in lustful thoughts, you will fall into lustful patterns and get less motivated to live a real life, essentially. And if you fall for prideful thoughts, then what's going to happen is that you will grow arrogant, stop putting in the work, and then you'll fall off. And so not only is the pleasure of these pleasures very little, sometimes it's actively destroying you. But the beauty of these pleasures, so to speak, is that they're kind of easy to eliminate. And so those changes are effectively going to be for free. Now, the third reason why you should care is what happens when you keep not indulging. As we've just established, like if you get tempted by a 3.5 pleasure and you fall for that 3.5 pleasure, you will not be tempted by, let's say, a 7 out of 10 pleasure. What if you fall for as few of these low pleasures as possible? What happens? What happens is that all of your life is going to become enjoyable and effortless, because if you don't have all these things constantly stealing your attention, energy, and motivation, you will become a lot more motivated. You will become a lot more determined. You'll become a lot more present, a lot more peaceful, a lot more healthy. Everything just gets easier and more enjoyable if you sacrifice all of those useless pleasures. Right? Like, let's go back to the snooze button example. Because it illustrates it very well. If you never press the snooze button ever again, but instead get up straight away out of bed, then what's gonna happen is that the next thing where you have to overcome yourself, like opening the computer and opening the difficult homework that you have to do, will become easy as well. And then, because it is so hard to do the hard homework, bringing out the trash will become easier. And bringing out the trash will feel kind of nice because you know you're going outside, you're moving a little bit. And that's just what happens to your whole life if you eliminate all of those useless pleasures. Now, what are the pleasures to eliminate? Before I share those with you, I want to explain it like this. Basically, all the things that are pleasurable, or those like, not really pleasurable things that you do alone should be eliminated, and you can only have fun when you are around your friends. And outside of that, you can read, you can work out, you can go outside, you can do all of these things which are good for you. Like, you socialize when you really want to have fun. When you are not socializing, but let's say at home, you can take a bath, you can read, you can meditate, you can relax. But what you are not allowed to do is anything that is not that. So essentially, pressing the snooze button, listening to music, hyperstimulating food, all these things should be eliminated because they do not make you more productive, and they do not make you more restful, right? And they also don't make you more social. So let's go through like what a day in life would look like if you eliminate all of those useless pleasures. So you get up, you don't press the snooze button, you don't lie in bed, you don't take out your phone. Instead, you get up straight away, you get dressed, you go to the toilet, and then you start working. When you are working, you don't get up randomly, you don't look away randomly, you don't switch to a different task for no reason. Your computer is in black and white, all notifications are turned off, there is no music as well, just silence, or open the window and the birds singing. Meanwhile, you sit upright, you don't multitask, and then when you have worked enough, when you are done, you start eating. When you eat, you don't eat sugar, you don't eat processed food. Maybe if you really want to level it up, you don't even use spices, chocolate, honey. You just eat vegetables, meat, eggs, yogurt. While you're eating, you eat a full meal, and that's it. No snacks, because snacking, just like the snooze button, is actually really, really harmful for you. Then you continue working, your phone is still turned off. When you are taking a break, you take a break in silence. No music, no phone, no gambling, just silence. Then you continue working, your phone is still turned off. You resist all evil thoughts while working. That means you don't allow lustful thoughts, you don't allow prideful thoughts, you don't allow negative thoughts like, this really sucks, this work. I wish I could be doing something else. Why does it have to suck that much? Why is my life so difficult? All of these thoughts, prideful thoughts, lustful thoughts, negative thoughts, all out. You just focus on the task at hand. And then when you're done, you leave your phone still at home. You go outside, you enjoy the sunshine, you enjoy the street musician, you enjoy the workout, you socialize. While you socialize, you don't complain, you don't gossip, you don't allow yourself to be in a bad mood. Instead, you just leave your phone at home, you work out, you socialize, you have a fun time. And yeah, that's how it's done essentially. So basically, you don't have any fun at home alone. When you work, you really work. When you rest, you really rest. When you eat, you really eat, and not just eat sugar and hyper-stimulating food and stuff like that. But when you socialize, when you go outside, then you can enjoy the pleasures. Like when you go outside, you can go to the opera and listen to music there, or you can listen to the street musician, or you can enjoy the music at the gym. Or when you really, really crave sugar, then go to the cafe with your friends. So this is sort of the vision. You work when it's time to work. You rest when it's time to rest. You have fun when it is time to have fun. You don't mix all these things, and you don't try to cope by adding all these useless pleasures. And that's how you're going to live an amazing life and make massive progress for free. And I can tell you, at first, it is quite depressing. The first 3 days or so, or maybe a week, or maybe 2 weeks if you're not used to it, are going to feel very depressing. But then after you implement it, it's going to be whatever. You're going to ask yourself, why the hell did I do it early? Why the hell did I indulge in the snooze button, in the notifications, in the demonic music, in the hyper-stimulating food? And then when you eliminate all these things, you will enjoy life fully. I can promise that to you. So, my name is Khalil. My goal is to inspire 10,000 good decisions, and we'll see you in the next one.